So Remora Cards just made a video called cEDH is dead, long live cEDH. So I guess we're doing a reaction video. Now normally you disagree or totally agree, and in general I more or less totally would agree with his story and point of view. And I think this is a great video. I've link in the description, you should go and watch it. But I do disagree with his outcome, so to say. Or well, he doesn't really truly say cEDH is dead, he's just talking about his perspective. But there's definitely a gloom and doom atmosphere in the video. And that one I do disagree with. So even though I overall agree with everything he's mentioning or talking about in this video, I don't think that it's this bad. Now we're not gonna like watch through his entire video part by part and then pausing and stopping and me talking. You should watch the video yourself. But I did feel that there were some stuff that were worthy to mention from it. So not that long ago, is it actually 2 weeks or 11 days ago, I made a video called reacting to top decks ban announcements. And Lemora Cards were part of that group that were going to like try to do something with this. I was not, I was a outsider bystander that just observed and had some opinions on it. And overall I actually liked what they were trying to do. I disagreed with some of the initial ideas that they had, but I thought it was a good thing and I thought they should go for it, basically. But he was more part and more into the story than I was. And let's just say there was a lot of backlash against the entire idea. A lot of people disagreed with it. And that is usually the case. When you're doing something, you mostly hear the people that hate you, and you don't hear all the people that agree with you.
Tournament grinder type people reached out to me and loved the idea and really interested in experimentation. Some people didn't like the idea. They didn't like the idea of the format really changing, or just people in the format deciding to make changes, and all kinds of other different, like, just tons of issues you can have just with that idea itself.
So I want to highlight that the idea was to have a individual small ban list for a individual tournament. It was never going to be something for the broad majority of things. It was just going to be something small and individual. And others could of course catch on if they wanted to. But mostly people that agreed with this were the ones that were playing in that specific tournament, while others who mostly disagreed with this thing weren't even going to play in that tournament to begin with. In other words, they were disagreeing with something that weren't even affecting them. And Lemora kind of pointed that out here, that people just disagreed with the entire concept as a general theme, regardless of whatever kind of decision they were trying to make here. And here's the thing, people are quite religious, they have very strong opinions on certain things, and if something goes against these certain religious opinions that some people have, they attack on it very heavily. This isn't even a small cEDH thing, this is just a broad majority of how things work. So a takeaway so far, if you're a tournament organizer and you want to implement some of these things yourself, watching and learning from experience of this is that it might be better to keep a low profile and only involve the people that are going to be affected, instead of spreading it as a big push on the internet, because then everyone on the entire world will latch on.
Because as part of that, you know, some people got upset at the group members that were part of it and were questioning like credentials or issues with like representation or diversity.
I actually read a comment somewhere online where they suggested me for this thing, to spread diversity. And I actually don't feel the need for that. And first of all, I actually don't want to be part of this. This isn't really my thing. Something I've already said in lots of different videos actually, is that even though I have an enormous high amount of knowledge of this format, like I am calculating statistics and I'm looking into tournament performance and such, and I do have a lot of understanding of what could be good and bad and such. And those were some of my opinions I shared when I commented on this concept to begin with 11 days ago. And something I usually follow up with is that even though I have all of this knowledge and understanding, I don't think I have a perfect knowledge, and I don't know what is the best course of action. And I don't really think anyone else have that either. So I don't feel a big need for a huge representation. And I don't think that there's a huge need to bring more people into it either, because the more people you sometimes bring into projects, the messier it gets. And it kind of sounded like that was the case as well, eventually for them. This is going back again to, if you want to do something like this yourself, keep a low profile, keep it into a small group, and just keep it into your own local tournament, your own little pet project with your local friends of maybe 14 to 30 people, or 200. I don't know how big tournament you have. Side note, another big reason why I didn't actually want to be part of this is that I had a feeling that this was coming. Lots of hate from the community while you are forced to do a lot of work no one is basically happy with. Which is the everyday life of the rules committee, more or less, I think, sometimes. I should actually mention this. I know that there's gonna be a lot of comments in the description below of the video and such, and I do know that the rules committee are receiving hates, and sometimes I've heard that they've received death threats. I know that you're usually upset about some of the decisions that some people like this are doing, but just remember that there's a human being that you're sending this hate towards. So don't do that. Or try to be nice. We could need more of that in this world.
Like, it wasn't worth having an online presence at all, and their Discord is gone, their Twitter pages are gone, pretty much all of that. So people were really, really aggressive about that kind of stuff. Top Deck was just, and it's just like, we're not going to have a social presence anymore, basically.
I just realized that the entire backstory of this video got a little bit longer than I had planned. But that is the basic premise, and that this is actually where I wanted to focus the main majority of this video on. That the outcome is that it turned into nothing. And this is also where the rest of Lemora Card's video starts to turn into the doom and gloom. Because the outcome is that, well, we don't know for certainty, but for now it looks like they are stepping down in cEDH tournament activity. The Top Deck organization, kinda, that is. So what I'm talking about is this page, but also this place. Or well, that is kind of what Lemora Cards are kinda talking about. Because there is a potential speculation from this that maybe cEDH tournament will decrease. As the title of the video we are reacting to is cEDH is dead, long live cEDH. And as I said in the beginning of this video, I agree with Lemora Cards, but I don't think that it's as bad as it might sound or feel. Yes, this is a sad outcome, but in the end, this is only one small tournament activity among many, many, many different ones. So sure, where is it? I think that here's Top Deck Invitational, and they have more tournaments than that, but we still have From the Vault, Commander Shadow, Play to Win have their own tournament, Diamond Leagues are rough. There's a lot of tournaments I actually don't know what they're all about, but there's a lot of tournaments here that are not run. They're using Top Deck's website, but Top Deck aren't behind those tournaments. Top Deck isn't the one, like Play to Win is the tournament organizers for Play to Win, and they aren't gonna stop. So in the end, the only people that are affected by this are the ones that went to the Top Deck tournaments. And as far as I had understood, is that this place is not going to shut down. It's just going to be a little bit of a reorganization and such, and yeah, but it's not gonna disappear. Like cEDH tournaments online and locally, using this website and of course firing off all across over the world, is going to continue. And let's actually draw the doom and gloom worst case scenario. Let's just say that the organizers shut down this place completely. They just remove it altogether. It's gone. There is an economical interest in a place like this. If this thing disappears, there are people all across, like these organizers are people who are interested in a website like this. So if this place shuts down, someone else will create a new one. We could even use this logic to the local tournament that Top Deck actually organized. Let's say that the local people that lived and traveled to the Top Deck paper tournaments felt like that tournament disappeared, then someone else could take over because there's still an interest in having that tournament. So someone else will just create it. But as I have understand, this place is going to remain. And this place too. And this place, this website is actually bigger than cEDH. Here you have Yu-Gi-Oh! You have Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournaments. Here you have Pokemon tournaments as well. So there's more to this website than only cEDH. So in the end, I think everything will just be business as usual. It's just that a few people disappear from the community potentially. And that is sad. That is sad, but it's not going to affect the entirety of the cEDH community in general. It's just a small, sad story in a bigger picture.
Knowing that a lot of the biggest, best events aren't going to be happening, like it doesn't sound like Punt City is going to be happening, sucks. It is a weird spot to be in right now where a lot of people don't really feel motivation to play in the next tournament series. And a lot of people don't know how they feel about cEDH in general.
I can absolutely understand the doom and gloom feeling of this, but let me show you something. So this is a YouTube video I made a month ago. List of recommended cEDH commanders for tournaments. And one thing I did inside that video was looking into how many unique players have participated in cEDH tournament. And the number of that is 8,792. And we can discuss backward and forward if that is a very large number. But the crazy truth is that most people only play in one tournament and then they don't participate in more cEDH tournaments afterwards. But in general, as you can see here, among the 234 unique Venota players, you have 1.61 games played per player. And as you can see over there at Kinnan, from 738 the unique players that have played Kinnan, you have 2.12 games played per Kinnan. What I'm trying to showcase here is that the cEDH tournament scene is actually quite small. So even though there's a bunch of people that feel saddened by this, that group is still very small. So you could say that the entire cEDH health is quite fine. Because most games, just like Lemora cards actually say,
most cEDH play is still just done at LGSs every week, or on spell table or whatever in Discords.
So in general, overall cEDH health very fine, but it's very sad for those people that wanted to go to this specific tournament that might now disappear in the future. But we have still many more cEDH tournaments still existing, and we might get more in the future. So in the end, this is a sad outcome, but I don't think this is the death or the end of anything. So once again, I totally agree with everything Lemora Cards have said in his video, but I don't think it is as bad as it might sound. He doesn't also say that it might be the end of the world, but there is that very big doom and gloom. Still, I highly recommend watching his video, because it gives you a pretty much good story of what have been happening in more detail. And his version is very important too, because he was part of it, while I was more of an outsider. Now this isn't the first time in my 6-7 years of doing content for cEDH where I've heard about the death of this format. But as always, we seem to survive. Take care guys, and stay positive.